Hello, everyone. My name is Kyle Tudor, and today we're going to be talking about the 3 ways to identify and nurture your ideal customers. So just a brief introduction of who I am. As I said, Kyle Tudor. I am the head of sales at Printfection and Custom Ink. Today, the objective of this session is really to develop a comprehensive customer persona or know how to do that, and then talk about implementing an effective lead scoring and segmentation strategy. And after we've done that, how do we create personalized campaigns around those objectives? So a little background on me before we jump right in. I've been in sales for 15 years, both on the leadership and individual contributor role. My last 2 startups have been in the SaaS world and have led to successful acquisitions. I was brought in as the first sales hire and responsible for developing the playbook and go-to-market strategy and building and scaling the team through that acquisition. So really cool experiences for me there. I think in sales, and what's made me so successful in my career is just making the entire sales process very customer-centric and relationship-specific. So I'll talk a little bit about like what it means to be an EQ or emotional intelligence ninja throughout this presentation. And as I mentioned before, Printfection was the startup I was at as the head of sales. We were recently acquired by Custom Ink, who is the organization I'm a part of now. So just leading a much larger sales team, but same initiatives. So let's jump right in. I know a lot of presentations today are about AI, but this is not. So breath of fresh air there. It's actually, a very magnificent tool and something you're going to have plenty of context into. But your customers are still human, your sellers are still human, and a genuine interaction is kind of what this presentation is all about. And modern buyers today expect personalization, right? With increased automation, customers demand tailored experiences. And if everyone's using AI, like how do you stand out from the room of robots? And you be human, right? Lean into that. And authentic interactions and genuine empathy can create memorable experiences that automated responses really can't match. So by leveraging that unique human touch, I think it's just easier to build trust and foster those deeper connections with your audience. And by building those stronger connections, I think personalization is what helps stand out in a crowded market to really engage prospects and customers effectively. It allows you to address specific needs and preferences and making those interactions just more relevant and meaningful. When customers feel valued and understood, they're way more likely to develop loyalty and become long-term advocates of your brand. So I think investing in those personalized strategies not just enhances it, but makes it so it's a long-term relationship. And then just optimizing the entire buyer journey from initial awareness to final purchase. That's the entire buying cycle. Personalization helps drive those conversations. So the more we can tailor each step of that journey to individual preferences, I think it ensures a better experience and hopefully higher conversions. So that's what we're going to be talking about a lot today, personalizing those touch points and guiding your prospect through that entire funnel as effective and human as you can be. So let's start with how the customer journey has evolved, right? A lot of changes in the market in the last 5 years, in the last 10 years. I think gone are the days where buyers would simply follow this linear path and it was just rinse and repeat from awareness to purchase. Today's customers are so much more informed, independent, educated. So they conduct all of this research online, compare options, talk to their network, rely on review sites and social proof, even before they talk to a sales rep. So education is kind of done. And the shift means our traditional sales funnel is becoming a little bit more obsolete. So to effectively engage with this new landscape, I think understanding the customer's needs and what their preferences of not just communication, but style and education are what we need to recognize, right? They expect that personalized experience tailored exactly to their pain points and interests. So we have to gain those deep insights into what drives those decisions so that we can better meet their expectations. And like I said, just drive home those stronger connections. And finally, I don't want to totally ignore AI and this data engine because a data-driven approach is essential for customer acquisition. Leveraging that data allows us to make better informed decisions. So it's not 100% on us. deciding how to focus our energy and our efforts, how to tailor that content and interaction throughout the process. This approach just helps us be more strategic, but also help value our time, which is, in my opinion, the seller's greatest asset. So talking a little bit more about this buyer journey, I think buyers, as we talked about, are a little bit more independent, right? Today's buyers are autonomous on how they conduct their research before reaching out to sales reps, but they have access to such a wealth of information that that sometimes they might even make those decisions on their own terms, even without speaking to a sales rep. So that kind of bleeds into what I mean by saying the traditional sales funnel is dead. Like, because buyers are in control versus sellers, and they prioritize that online research and their education and their network over like the traditional salespeople and conversation with complete strangers. So what does that shift mean? I think it just means that the traditional way of doing things is not as effective as it used to be. We have to adapt our strategies. We have to meet their expectations, and we have to tailor each conversation at a very personal level. And instead of buyers seeking sellers, like that's the way every, traditional interaction is, right? There's somebody selling a product and service and there's someone buying it. But switching the seller persona into more of a partner persona, I think buyers look for partners who can help them solve their problems and focus on like the ROI and solving their pains before making a purchase. So someone that feels like they're with them rather than giving them things is what they really value. Someone that can address those specific concerns and contribute to long-term success. And personalization, you're going to hear me say this at least 25 times throughout this, but I think it's really key to differentiate yourself from the competition, providing a really personalized experience to the buyer. This needs a consultative approach, even if it's not a good fit. Helping buyers solve their pains, even if it's pushing them towards the competitors, being very authentic and demonstrating that you understand the unique challenges and exactly what they're looking for. And even if it's not you, tailoring solutions that will help them solve those problems. I put in a graphic here for Gap Selling. I think it's one of the most effective books that I've read in my career in sales. It's definitely marketing helpful too. So something I would engage with no matter what your background is, but it's not just about selling products or services anymore. It's about offering solutions. And that's what this whole book is about. Like what the gap is addressing their problems and helping them like bridge the gap to cross the chasm of what their pain is to get to that end destination. The other side of the bridge is the gap that they're referencing. So I think just a really great book, easy read, and super effective, talking about the different personas in sales too, the different types of buyers, the different types of personalities. Emotional intelligence is a huge part of this book. So would definitely encourage it to anyone in the sales marketing world. So now that that they're identified, let's talk about how we can use lead scoring and what lead scoring is first. And what it is, a lot of organizations are not using lead scoring, so don't feel like you're out in the blue here. But lead scoring is essentially a system for ranking leads or customers based on their potential value to the business, right? And it helps you prioritize sales efforts, target key accounts, assign higher valued accounts to more senior reps, improve conversion rates. But before you even do this, you really need to lock in what your ICP is, your ideal customer profile, and who are your best customers, right? Then by creating this algorithm based on those points to help calculate the quality of an account and lead. So for a couple examples, like +5 points for opening an email, +20 points for downloading a white paper, -10 points if the headquarters is in Europe, minus another 20 points if it's a personal like Gmail address, +10 points for 25% employee growth, +5 points for HR director title, if that title is in your ICP, +20 points for using Salesforce as a CRM because that's who we integrate with, -10 points because it's a nonprofit. So you get the idea. There's all these different both demographic and firmographic things that go into lead scoring. But of course, some of the benefits of this is, alignment, bringing sales and marketing closer together. So by defining that lead quality, we can agree on what good customers and good leads work with, and we're both working towards the same goal to synchronize our efforts and close those opportunities together. Efficiency, right? Focusing sales efforts on high lead qualities. I talked about how time is a sales rep's most valuable asset, but by increasing that productivity, I think a clear lead scoring system can help those sales reps prioritize which leads to spend the most time with. So kind of reducing their effort on less promising prospects. So the targeted approach, I think, just allows for more strategic use of resources, quicker follow-up on those valuable opportunities. And then improved conversion, right? Nurturing leads effectively leads to a higher conversion rate. That's pretty self-explanatory. But by scoring these leads, I think based on their likelihood to convert or make a larger impact to the business, you then can follow up you tailor your follow-up strategies to address those specific needs and interests. So personalization helps build a stronger relationship and increases the chances of you turning them into loyal customers. I've got some lead scoring criteria examples up here. I gave a few, minus 10 points, plus 20 points. But here, if you just want to take a screenshot of this, there's the demographic information, things like company size, industry, job title, department, firmographic, like revenue, location, number of employees, domain validity, behavioral engagement. You don't have to use all of these by any means, but I think taking a step back and taking a good hard look at like, what is our best customer is a good way to start that. And then at, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, you can throw in a couple more of these to the recipe to get even more specific. But I think starting broad is okay. And there are some lead scoring software and services out there. If you're using Salesforce or HubSpot, they have their own as well. Leadfeeder, SalesMate, Forward, or some tools I've interfaced with before that really help with this. They all sit on top of your CRMs too, so you don't need like a new tool. And I think one thing I forgot to mention is kind of like the disqualification process too. I talked about like what makes a good lead, but it can also help disqualify bad leads, right? By clearly defining that data, removing leads from the scoring system that don't have any engagement, have left negative feedback, they're out of your target market. You can give those 0 and maybe just have automated emails and marketing materials to kind of get those out of the funnel, but not totally leave them in the dark. So now that your customers and high value leads are scored and identified, I want to talk a little bit about like how you can stand out in reaching them, because our inboxes are getting very crowded, right? The key to grabbing attention is to make these campaigns stand out. And if you think about your audience and craft campaigns that are not only relevant, but resonate with their current needs and interests, that's a home run. And we want to avoid generic messaging that can be mistaken for spam. Tailoring these campaigns to speak directly to specific pain points and the desired audiences, the more specific you can be, the better. Every company now, every single one of you listening to this right now has probably today received 50 of these types of emails in your inbox. So think about the ones that stand out, or the ones you engage with. What made you do it? That's what I always think about when we're developing marketing campaigns. And relevance is obviously crucial. With your leads and customers that are already up scored and identified, you have valuable insights into their preferences and behavior. So use that data to ensure the messaging aligns perfectly with what they care about. You know them, you know what they care about. This means just delivering content that's not only timely, but directly applicable to their needs. So maybe it's more specific to an HR buyer, a CTO, or a VP of sales. That messaging can just be a couple of words that can really help catch their eye. Segmentation is going to be your best friend here too. So divide your audience into very distinct groups just based on their behaviors or preferences or their demographics, because then you can have different messaging, different email cadences. And this approach, I think, just minimizes the risk of communications getting lost in the shuffle and really increases the likelihood of meaningful engagement. Timing's everything. Obviously, it'd be nice to control a crystal ball and know exactly who's looking for XYZ software at XYZ moment. But that's not really what I mean by timing. I'm thinking more about like sending your messages when they're likely to engage. So this is more around like time zones or specific events. Like if XYZ industry is really busy at the end of the year, maybe you save that campaign for the new year. Or, if the data suggests people are more likely to engage with emails in the morning versus the afternoon, like think about where your time zones are at and when those emails should be sent. Just pay attention to those patterns. and it kind of adjust your timings accordingly. You can test it out too. And it might just be a 0.01% better open rate or click-through rate, but those numbers at the volume and scale you're doing at are pretty impactful. Your value proposition should always be clear and compelling. That's always my feedback in these emails, these big, long, massive emails that, are telling me about this X and Y. And I finished reading the email. And I still don't know what the company does. What makes you unique? How do you solve the problem specific to me that I'm facing? The better you can clearly communicate the value, the more likely it is to be impactful because of its concise and direct nature. And to that concise and direct nature, that's specific, right? Be specific. Vague messages are easily dismissed. Providing more detail that speaks directly to that audience's pain, more likely the message will resonate. And specific and short kind of go hand in hand, right? Anything more than a paragraph is probably too much time. But keep it short and sweet, right? Brevity is your ally. Make sure your message gets to the point quickly and effectively. I think 2 to 3 sentences can do that in a very succinct manner. And let's not forget the human touch, right? Personalization and making your messages feel more authentic. Using language that's conversational and relatable. Human touch makes just communication seem more genuine and engaging. I'm okay with my reps using slang. I'm okay with PG-13 curse words, sarcasm, all okay. Just again, that's how we talk. That's how we communicate. A perfectly written email with really fancy words. I don't know. Even a GIF or meme I've seen be really effective in these emails. So, if you can be human, if you can use the rep's personality in these emails too, I think that's all really good ammunition. So I'm talking a lot about human interaction, but I don't want it to be lost that, not everything at scale is able to be done personalized human one-to-one. There is some automation. So how do we balance personalization with automation? I think it's really about leaning on technology to scale your efforts without losing that personalized touch. So some of these most common ways are like dynamic content. Like I talked about before, if the persona is going to change or the title or the type of company or the pain that you're solving, those can be dynamic fields. So, the content of your emails that each recipient receives is changed. Maybe it's 8 words, maybe it's 1 sentence, maybe it's just the value prop, maybe it's the title, maybe it's the body. But that if you could tailor that to their interests and behaviors, a little bit more likely to engage. A/B testing, it's really important that you regularly test different versions of this content to see what resonates best with the audience. This helps not just refine your approach, but maximize the effectiveness of the campaigns. And those KPIs you want to pay attention to are open rate, click-through rate, scheduled meetings and appointments, and then conversion rates from lead to opportunity. That will help kind of gauge what messaging or what content is being more effective. And then by leveraging some of the automated tools to streamline your campaigns, this just ensures like timely delivery, but make sure those tools are used thoughtfully to maintain the personalized touch. And I think just in general, like this kind of bleeds into what I was saying about like human and personalization. But if you can strive to be like unique and entertaining, again, going back to like thinking about the emails that you engage with, thinking about what you've seen that made you laugh or chuckle or click or, okay, tell me more. In a sea of AI and standard operating procedures, standing out requires a little bit of creativity. So don't just Google, what should my email marketing 7 templates look like? I think it's important for you to be as personal, like your customers, your process, your sales reps, make them memorable, make them engaging, so they're not only noticed but appreciated. Okay, now the next step is well, we've talked about email and cold calling, but I think there's one extra thing you can be doing that not a lot are doing effectively, but standing out in a crowded inbox, doing something that's a little extra, especially in this post-COVID world with everyone being remote. How else can we engage them? What are some other creative strategies we can use to get someone's attention, to get them to communicate with us, to get them to engage, to get them to do whatever behavior we're trying to? And I think that's with corporate gifting, swag, and direct mail. You can use these to create a really positive impression, incentivize action, and drive sales. And I'll talk about how and why these things are a little different. But really interesting statistics here on the right hand side that companies that use corporate gifting generated 30% more leads than those without. Companies that incentivize prospects near the end of the sales cycle saw a 55% higher conversion rate. And sales teams that sent prospects and leads gift during the sales cycle saw a decrease of 21% in the opportunity lifecycle. So they were closing deals faster, more converting, and generating more leads. Like who doesn't want that? So let's talk about kind of what these are and some examples of how they're different. So corporate gifting, I think the purpose of doing it is to build stronger relationships and show appreciation for their time. So basically like reward them for engaging. Now the benefits here are like tailored gifts can make very memorable impressions and increase engagement. Like gifts can motivate leads to take action, right? Like everybody loves free stuff. So I think using that effectively, not just sending things to send them, but like I talked about, tailored gifts can really make a memorable impression. So some of these examples might be like, premium gift basket, AirPods or alcohol in the right situation. But more so like, say I'm working with a prospect in New York and I know he's a huge Yankee fan, or maybe it's somebody I haven't talked to that's in Boston and who in Boston doesn't love sports. So maybe sending them an offer if they take that demo, we'll send you to a Yankees or a Boston game. And I realize using both of those as an example may create some friction, but something like, or maybe they're a big experienced person you saw on their social channel or their LinkedIn that they've got a picture of them skydiving or rock climbing. So maybe you send them on a hot air balloon ride. You send them an experience. They're a golfer, sending them a tea time at their local golf course, or maybe it's something simpler, just like coffee and lunch to take a demo or a call with me. Gift cards can always be really good here too. So the point of gifting is usually to thank or to encourage. And usually those aren't branded, which is the biggest difference between corporate gifting and swag. So same type of purpose behind swag, but I think it's a little bit more about enhancing brand visibility and like creating positive associations with your company. So all of what I said before, the branded swag isn't always as tailored, but I think with brand awareness, recipients generally use and display swag longer, which increases the brand's reach, like lasting impressions versus a gift. Like after I go drink that bottle of wine or go to the Yankees game, like 6 months later, like what do I have to show for it besides a memory that I probably forgot? So I think just a little bit longer life cycle. And we're not talking about like sending stress balls and like fidget spinners and like the crap that I would define those types of things as, but they can still be high valued items just with a logo on it to increase customer loyalty and brand awareness. Some examples might be, t-shirts, hats, backpacks, tech items, desk items, travel gear, water bottles, notebooks, things the recipients will use frequently, but generally you're buying them in bulk. So I'm buying 6, 12, 50, 500 water bottles that I'm going to send out at bulk. If you can make these a little bit more tailored too, instead of just water bottles or t-shirts or backpacks, like your standard swag items, I think you can be a little bit more personalized with those too, right? Like it can still be a really nice like AirPod, but just with your logo on it. Or if that prospect is always traveling and on the road, like most VP of sales are, like a really nice wireless charger, a battery pack, or a laptop sleeve, like those types of things, or a golf thing, right? Like a golf towel, golf bags, and golf balls, like those things that can be branded and also serve the purpose of being an effective gift because they're personalized to me. And then direct mail is just another way, I think, to engage the like attention through physical mail versus email. The direct mailers, the paper mail that you're sending to people, this can be exactly what you're sending in email, but just a different way to stand out, right? It's obviously a little bit, it's not as cost effective of a channel as email because email's free. But I think it's just an excitable way, an extra step to get someone's attention. These can also be personalized with the recipient's names, variable data fields. These can be exclusive offers or discounts to take advantage or to talk to us. You can be creative with these direct mail pieces like 3D mailers, spend a little bit more money to make them more eye-popping. But the purpose is really just an extra channel that not a lot of people are using, right? Like direct mail was so popular in the 80s and 90s. And then like email and the internet came up, and now everyone is spamming inboxes, and there's a million messages in your LinkedIn and your Gmail every day. But when was the last time you got like a B2B direct mail piece at your home? So think about that. Could be interesting to implement. And some common use cases for like the sales and marketing use case, I think, whether it's corporate gifting or swag or direct mail, like incentivizing a prospect or a lead to take a call or demo with you. So, I'd love to buy you coffee if you have 15 minutes to walk through our platform next Tuesday. E-gifts to increase email responses. So, if you schedule a time with me here, I'll send you a $15, Uber Eats gift card so you can get lunch while we're talking. Accelerating deals with business gifts. This is a good example. Like my sales team does this when they're getting ghosted in the sales funnel. Like the prospect won't get back in touch with them. They'll send them a nice gift or swag to try and get them to re-engage in the opportunity. I think warming cold leads with incentives, like I talked about before, is another good use case. Avoiding missed opportunities in the field. So we didn't get a chance to talk at the event. I know you came by the booth, wanted to thank you for attending. Or maybe you don't want to bring a bunch of swag to your events and trade shows and conferences. You can just collect their email address and send them a redemption link. I think sweetening meeting confirmations, like, hey, we got a call next Tuesday. Here's your gift card. Here's your swag item. Anytime you get a referral or reference or a closing opportunity, it's a good time to send a thank you or create a brand ambassador with some branded items. Nudging third-party vendors or partners to interact. Or expanding a deal, right? Like if you're single-threaded working with one person in this opportunity, it might be a good way to send things throughout the organization to try and get them involved in the deal as well. Just a couple more stats to run through that I think are pretty interesting when we talk about how to create personalization in this like new emerging market of Gen Zs and millennials and Gen Xs. Like how do we get through to them? How do we get their attention? Well, 85% of Gen Z finds direct mail useful for capturing their interest, right? Gen Z really values physical communication as it stands out amongst all the digital noise. Like they're on more screen time than any generation in the past. So something physical and real to them could create the shock value to get their attention. So I think just using these creative and interactive elements in direct mail, corporate gifting, and swag to kind of appeal to Gen Z's preferences could be pretty useful. Talking about millennials' enthusiasm, right? 88% of millennials are excited to receive any type of mail or package. And to be honest, I'm surprised it's not 100%, right? We're in this Amazon age, and I'm stoked anytime something shows up on my front porch, unless it's for my wife, and it's just sheer anger. But it's a world where those types of moments really do create some excitement. Even if it does find the trash, like then maybe you send them an email 3 days later, and then they engage with that. Like those types of things can even subconsciously make a huge difference. The millennials view direct mail as this like nice, pleasant surprise, and that can really just enhance brand engagement. And then Gen X broad interest, right? 70% of Gen X are interested in all types of physical mail, including marketing. They don't care what it is. They're excited to get anything. Opening various mail content, providing an opportunity to engage with them with diverse messaging, and just offering a mix of promotional and informative content to capture Gen Xs. So they kind of want both. They want digital and physical. So coupling a campaign around both is helpful in reaching that audience. So we talked a lot about kind of understanding your customer, right? Developing that ideal customer profile and developing a comprehensive customer persona and how to implement effective lead scoring. So then once we understand our customer, talking about how to reach them, the personalized engagement, being human, creating these tailored campaigns to stand out in crowded email inboxes, leveraging technology, right? Like I don't need you to go full robot AI mode, but utilizing automation and data to optimize your marketing and sales efforts is going to be very helpful as you talk about saving times and being efficient. And then that human connection, building strong relationships through empathy, exceptional customer experiences, tailoring each word, each message very specific to their pain, to their title, to their company. By focusing on these key areas, I think you can just effectively identify, nurture, and convert your ideal customers better. So thank you so much for your time. It really was a pleasure. I'm glad I got to share some of this with you. And here are some QR codes to engage with a marketer's guide to better B2B strategies, or to connect with me on LinkedIn or email. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again.